Whether you're among the tens of millions of people who live, work, or vacation in Orange County, Florida each year, or a student, scientist, or nature lover interested in learning more about our beautiful place, we think you'll find this video about the state of Orange County's environment both informative and thought-provoking. Are you ready to dive into some data? Let's go! Orange County's Environmental Protection Division, also known as EPD, operates air monitoring stations that collect outdoor air quality data all day, every day. Our stations monitor for 5 pollutants: carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, particulate matter, and ground-level ozone. That data becomes our local air quality index, or AQI. The green and yellow chart shows our AQI for every day of 2022. Air quality was in the good range on 324 days and in the moderate range the rest of the year. We see that most of the yellow moderate days occurred between March and early June. This is because warm, sunny weather provides conditions that boost ozone production associated with industrial emissions and vehicle exhaust. In addition to ozone, we sometimes see particle levels increase because of forest fires or even dust from Saharan Africa. The 5 air pollutants mentioned earlier are displayed here in a bar chart. Sulfur dioxide is shown in green, carbon monoxide is dark blue, nitrogen dioxide in orange, 10-micron particulate matter in light blue, 2.5-micron particulate matter in yellow, and ozone in gray. Each pollutant, as well as lead, has been assigned a maximum concentration limit, also called a standard, by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. The 100% mark on this chart indicates the federal standard, and the bars show the average concentrations of these pollutants in Orange County over the last 5 years. If regional levels of these pollutants exceed the limits on a regular basis, the region will be considered in non-attainment of federal air quality standards. Fortunately, Orange County has been meeting these standards for many years. Notice that ozone is the only pollutant that is close to reaching the federal standard. Let's take a closer look at ozone. The dots on this graph represent ozone concentrations for Orange County since 1997 relative to the federal standard. Notice that they have generally been trending down. The EPA reviews the ozone standard every 5 years to see if it provides adequate protection of public health and welfare. They lowered it in 2009 and again in 2015. They reviewed the standard once more in 2020 and decided not to lower it at that time. Now let's examine some data on greenhouse gases in Orange County. The East Central Florida Regional Planning Council prepared a greenhouse gas emissions inventory for Orange County and 7 other neighboring counties. The data shown on this chart is from 2019. About 16.5 million tons of greenhouse gases were produced in Orange County. The biggest sources of these emissions were from transportation, commercial energy, and residential energy use. Of this amount, Orange County government's share from its operations was 422,749 tons, which is about 2.6% of the county's overall emissions. Now let's turn our attention to Orange County's most recognized natural features, its rivers, lakes, and springs. Did you know that Orange County has over 600 named lakes? EPD's team of water scientists are regularly in the field taking surface water samples, which are processed in our laboratory and reported to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. We're also continuously looking at data collected from groundwater monitoring wells, which provide information about groundwater quality. Overall, the trends we've been seeing in recent years are concerning. When pollutant levels exceed state water quality standards, an impairment is issued for that water body. A single water body can have multiple impairments if more than one pollutant is detected above the state standards. This is what we see in the blue and orange line graph. The line in orange represents the total number of impaired water bodies in the county, which was 87 as of 2022. The line in blue on this graph indicates the total number of impairments for water bodies in Orange County. Unfortunately, as you can see, the trend since 2008 has been toward a significant increase in the number of impairments. The data shows that we had 151 total impairments in 2022. Turning to this bar graph, we can see a comparison of the different impairments for the last 4 years. The biggest pollutant impairing our water is excess nutrients, that is, total nitrogen and total phosphorus. The blue bars represent these nutrient-related impairments, which encompass almost 2/3 of the total. Bacteria, mercury, and other pollutants make up the remainder of the impairments. Are we able to identify where the nutrient pollution is coming from? For the most part, yes. Let's look at nitrogen loading to the Wekiwa and Rock Springs system. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection has reported that 29% of nitrogen loading is from conventional septic tanks. The next largest source of nitrogen loading comes from urban turf fertilizer at 26%. The sources of the remaining 35% of nitrogen loading are divided among wastewater treatment facilities, farm and sports turf fertilizer, atmospheric deposition, and others. Finally, let's turn our attention to the state of our land. A century ago, Orange County had around 9,000 people, and its main industry was, you guessed it, oranges. Fast forward 100 years. The county's population is reaching 1.5 million people, and the tourism and hospitality industries are economic powerhouses. The landscape is dotted with airports, highways, hotels, universities, office buildings, hospitals, neighborhoods, arenas, museums, a convention center, and over a dozen theme parks. As the county's urban and suburban footprints have expanded, Orange County government has been making efforts to limit development in certain environmentally sensitive areas and to acquire land within ecological corridors. Let's look at some environmental quality data of the land, paying special attention to wetlands, tree canopy coverage, and natural protection areas. Wetlands are unique natural formations that foster rich, diverse ecosystems. In 2023, an extensive landmark study analyzed Orange County's wetlands, which make up roughly 1/4 of the county's total area, including water bodies. Looking at changes over 30 years, researchers found that wetland loss rates slowed down after 1990, in contrast to earlier decades of substantial losses. However, Orange County still experienced a net loss over the last 3 decades. This map summarizes changes in wetlands and surface waters. The darker gray areas represent wetlands and surface waters with no changes detected over 30 years. Notice the orange colors. They depict losses in forested wetland systems. And notice that there's quite a bit of medium blue. This represents shrub systems that have transitioned to forested ones. Some of this can be explained by the natural process of succession, but other changes can be driven by disturbance and changes in the surrounding land uses. Digging a bit deeper into the data, the study found clear changes in more specific wetland types over time, such as losses of freshwater marshes of 7%, scrub-shrub wetland losses of 17%, and decreases in wet prairies of 39%. At the same time, there were increases in coverage of hydric pine flatwoods, water, and other wetland types. This level of detail helps us better understand the overall state of our land resources, since declines of certain wetland types result in changes to our ecological diversity. Turning our attention to trees, our county's tree canopy is an urban forest providing valuable benefits such as shade, wildlife habitat, erosion control, traffic calming, and others. Monitoring the health of our urban forest requires data from several sources. We get false color infrared and LiDAR data from aerial images that tells us where the trees are located. A 2020 aerial analysis reported that Orange County's overall tree canopy coverage was 37.5%. While aerial studies are very helpful for showing where trees are located, we also hire contractors periodically to collect data such as size, healthiness, species, and age. In 2017, our urban forest was found to be in good overall health, with a high percentage of young trees in comparison to mature ones. 3 decades ago, county leaders created the Green Place program with a vision of preserving environmentally sensitive lands to help foster a community that is ecologically, economically, and socially resilient. This is great news not just for nature lovers, but for everyone who lives, works, or vacations in Orange County. Through the program, we seek to develop corridors that will protect species that need large areas of habitat to thrive. In addition, over 18,000 acres are open to the public for nature-based recreation activities like hiking, kayaking, and birdwatching. Thus far, over 23,800 acres have been acquired, and that number keeps growing. This map depicts current Green Place properties shaded in green with new parcel acquisitions shaded in red. You can see other publicly owned conservation lands in blue and how we seek to develop corridors by connecting to them. Are you feeling inspired to explore and enjoy some of these areas? We hope so. Collecting and compiling data on the state of our air, water, and land not only helps us set strategic priorities for protecting our natural resources, it also helps guide county planning and propose local policy changes. We hope you enjoyed learning about the state of the environment in Orange County, Florida, and invite you to connect with us to access more data, learn more about Orange County's diverse efforts to prevent and address pollution, attend stakeholder meetings, visit our natural areas, become a volunteer, and more. Find us online at ocfl.net/environment or send us an email at epd@ocfl.net.